My name is Hakeem Brown, and I can't breathe.
Hakeem and Reggie Brown are two young black boys. They were so upset with their current situation in the world, they started their own podcast. They grew up in the suburbs until their parents got divorced. They were homeless, living in the streets. Now they live in the inner city with their grandmother. This is their story. This is Pop City Culture.
Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
I am your host, Hakeem Brown. I am 13 years old. My name is Reggie Brown, and I'm 11 years old, and I'm a hood rat. Okay, Reggie. Anyways, we're going to be talking about what's been going on. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I can't believe all the stuff in the world that's going on. So that's what we're gonna be doing. There's a lot been going on. We're gonna be talking about the tragic news. A lot of tragic news. We had our first podcast and we talked about George Floyd. I hope we got bad time date straight. Yeah, I think we did. It was May. It was May 25th, 2020. Yeah. And in case you don't know, George Floyd, an African American, 46, was killed. Very bad time. It rang around the world. People were upset. Tell us what happened. He went into a store and allegedly gave him a counterfeit bill. They said it was a 20. And the store clerk called the police on him. This happened in Minneapolis. The police showed up and Mr. Floyd was in his car. And, you know, there's two different stories on what transpired after that. But basically, he was handcuffed on his knee. Okay. He was handcuffed on the ground, and the police officer put his knee in Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That's a long time. And he screamed, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe." Yeah, and he also said, "Don't kill me." And he was screaming for his mother. That's the part that really hurts. And 3 cops stood by doing nothing. Yes, Reggie, go on. And 4 days later, on May 29th, 2020, the cop who had his knee in Mr. Floyd's neck was arrested and charged with third-degree murder. That's right. But since that time, it's been changed to second-degree murder. So, Reggie, listen. Now, there has been a lot of things going on, and it's been a really hurtful time throughout America and the world. That's right. The whole world's protesting. The world don't like what they saw. Videos say 1,000 words because you got it right there. And people are always trying to change what people see. Reggie. Yeah, but we're going to talk about, during this podcast, here's the question. Here's basically what it is. The riot, looting pandemic in America. So, what do you think about that, Reggie? I think it's fucked up, too. I think that's Reggie, really fucked up. We talked about this because the bottom line is, you know, people are rioting for a reason. Well, what reason? Again, tell everybody. People are upset. They don't feel their voices are heard. And I'm glad to see everybody, from black, white, to everybody. We got everybody concerned about what's going on. But you know what? What, Reggie? It's dying down. The looting's stopping. Well, why do you think, Reggie? Because there ain't no more shit to steal. Nigga, what you think? Everything's gone. But in any case, our voices are getting heard, you know? Well, you know, during the 6th night, there was peaceful protest. And it continued. I know that, Hakeem. Hakeem, you ain't got to tell me. It was pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot of fires being burned and a lot of stuff. I mean, you remember seeing the stuff we saw on TV. Yeah, man. There was riots in L.A. There was riots in D.C., Boston. I mean, it was all over. That's right. New York and Florida and many other places around the world. And you know what? It still continued. Now, what do you think? You know, you think the vandalism and all that stuff is good? No, I don't condone vandalism. But all I'm saying is voices want to be heard. And right now, they're being heard. It's unfortunate that we had to go through all this shit to get our voices heard. And it's unfortunate that Mr. Floyd had to die. But you know what? I mean, something good has got to come out of this, don't you think? Hakeem? Well, yeah. And we know in the past there's been many assaults by cops, and African Americans have been killed. Yeah, that's right. Like Rodney King. I remember watching on social media, Rodney King, he got the shit kicked out of him. And then those cops, they got off, and there was riots. I think that was the LA riots. Yeah, and those riots lasted a while. That really did hurt the black community. And I remember our dad was saying that was a tough time, and it was really tough to see something like that on TV. A lot of angry people. But he also said it seemed like a lot of stuff didn't change after that, because from that time to now, black people have still been getting injured. Injured, nigga? What you mean? They've been getting killed and shot. You can look at social media and all the videos and see what's going on. Man, what's the matter with you? I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. I'm trying to be fair, and I want to have an opinion so everybody sees what's going on. Okay, well, what else you got? Well, like I said, people are fed up. That's right, because they don't think the system works for them. So that's why you got the riots. And you remember seeing the first night when this happened? There were riots, mad crazy riots. They were all over the place. I mean, burning buildings, fires in the streets, and it was off the hook. I never seen nothing like it. And I remember seeing cars just being piled up with shit. People looting out the stores. Yeah, but you know what? Reggie, you have to realize that wasn't a good thing. Hakeem, I didn't say it was a good thing. I know it's fucked up. I'm just saying what I saw again. Why you always got to be heavy on me? I'm not being heavy on you. Why are you trying to argue? I just want to make sure people understand and know what you're talking about. I think people know what I'm talking about. They listen, ain't they? Anyways, in Minneapolis, they're gonna ban the use of the chokehold in response of the George Floyd. It's about fucking time. I don't know what took so damn long. Minneapolis officials on Friday announced an agreement to immediately ban the use of chokeholds and strangleholds in a movement to bolster accountability within a police department that uses force against African Americans far more often than against white residents. Damn, it's about time. It only took what? Another brother to get killed? I still say that's fucked up. This is some stuff that should have been going on before. And that's what I mean when I say when we protest, our voices get heard and finally somebody listens. I'm just hoping it just doesn't stop here, Hakeem. I'm just saying I hope this goes on, because it's a tragedy about the stuff that happens in the black community and nobody sees. Reggie, you don't think I'm listening, but I hear what you're saying. Hakeem, just listen. I remember hearing stories about L.A., and people were saying the cops were abusing everybody when they were getting arrested. And they were just calling the black folks there downright liars. But then we got the videos. And still the shit, people couldn't stand by it. They were saying it was doctored or something. And you know what? We still got videos nowadays, and people still don't do nothing. I'm not saying protesting and I'm not saying the vandalism is good. The protesting is good. And like I said, it's peaceful. If it's peaceful protesting, obviously it's good. But what I'm saying is, finally, hopefully something changes, because something's got to be done. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? Also, in that Minneapolis announcement, they also said officials announced that it is a duty for officers to intervene and report any use of unauthorized force, according to an agreement between city and state officials. Well, they should have been doing that all along. I just hope the shit gets done, because in the past, we all know what the fuck happens. Seems like cops protect cops, and that's just some messed up shit. Yeah, I know, Reggie. But Reggie, this is a good start, don't you think? Of course it's a good start, Reggie. Well, I also want to mention that there's a protest continues in cities nationwide ahead of the demonstrations. Now, this happened Saturday, but you see, there was more police violence occurring during the protest yesterday over police violence. I know, because, it gets out of control. You get a lot of people together, but I don't know why it got violent. I don't know either. I'm just letting you know what's going on, because other stuff happened too nationwide. For example, an officer in New Mexico faces manslaughter charges after the death of a man he put in a chokehold. Man, well, now you see why nobody should be put in a chokehold? That's downright dangerous. That's some fucked up shit. Yes. Now, The NFL commissioner also said the league should have listened to black players concerns that were brought up earlier. You mean Kaepernick? That was messed up. You know, Kaepernick is my hero. I think they should have listened to him because he took a knee. Reggie, but don't you think, and I'm just saying, people, when they want to watch sports, they work all week and they want to relax. If they want to watch political statements, then they can turn on the news or a radio show. But if they want to watch a sports game to be entertained, to escape the things in society, don't you think they just want to watch a football game? Come on! Kaepernick took a knee for every black person out there because he saw the atrocities that was happening. As soon as he took a knee, people got a stick up their ass, and they started yelling at him, saying he's un-American, unpatriotic. Man, that nigga was the most patriotic man I know because he took a stand. He finally did something, and he sacrificed all that money. That's true. But, you know, I'm just saying, man, just shut up. You and I, we both know we're going to argue about this day and night. It's fucked up. Anyway, I support Kaepernick because he took that knee, he took a stand, and maybe if people had to listen in and got the ball rolling, another black life would have been saved, don't you think? A lot of black lives might have been saved. But moving along, the other things that happened this past week is Justin Trudeau. He's the 23rd Prime Minister. He knelt in solidarity with protesters, but some Canadians want stronger words from him. Reggie, what you think about this? Now, I don't know too much about what's going on in Canada because we don't live there. We live in America. Well, Reggie, but I'm glad to see a lot of these leaders in other countries are actually kneeling in solidarity like that. I think that's a good thing, and I give him praise. I think that's really cool. What about you, Reggie? Of course I think it's cool. Anybody who helps support the cause of justice, I think it's cool. They got your back, man. I'm going to have his back. Shout out to all the Canadians out there who kneeling, who supporting Black Lives Matter and everybody's lives in America. Thank you very much. Now, next we're going to talk about the Attorney General. They say that Trump's walk for a church photo op expedited an order to clear a park. Now, I don't know too much about this. I do. I know a little bit about it. Trump wanted to do a photo op holding up some Bible in front of an Episcopal church, and he cleared out the whole park in front. People got pissed because they felt like he was just doing it just for some kind of a photo op to make it look good in front of the world. People don't like that stuff. Shit, if he wants to do something, he needs to get out in front of the pulpit and talk to people instead of doing his dumbass little tweets. Well, you know, he is the first president to actually do the tweets, I believe. And the tweets actually get a lot of hits. And a lot of people listen and they see them. Yeah, but that don't mean he got to be doing them all the time. But don't you think people see the tweets and... I don't know. That's right, you don't know. So why don't you just move on? Okay, Reggie. So... as I was saying, more than 10,000 demonstrators took to the streets of Washington, D.C. That was on June 6th, and that was the 9th day of the protest over the district of police brutality. And, you know, during that demonstration, you know what they gave out? They gave out water, cold water. That was really cool because, you know, it means the police and the people, they were, the police, they were thinking in the city, they was thinking about all the people there, which is pretty cool. But, you know, I've been to D.C., you've been to D.C., and it's full of a lot of black people. It looked like a shithole. You would think that the capital of the United States, it would look really good, really on top of things, but man, it looked like a shithole. I never seen nothing like it. They need to invest some money in that city, because I think crime is also high there too. But hey, I'm just saying. Yeah, well, we both been saying this for a long time. Anyways, a few days ago, peaceful protests exploded in unrest and outrage in Washington, with some demonstrators setting and feeding fires. Now, that was in D.C. In Louisville, one man was shot and killed when police and the National Guard opened fire following a violent confrontation between a group of gatherers in a supermarket parking lot, and law enforcement's trying to disperse the crowd, according to authorities. Yeah, well, that's their story, but you know, you gotta talk to the people there too, the people who are protesting. I'm telling you, none of this protesting, it's good in a whole lot of ways. I mean, I think it's really good, But then there's some ways, it's sort of getting fucked up. The whole message is being missed because the media, they keep focusing on the bad shit. They need to focus on the good shit. There's a whole lot of good stuff going on out there. But nobody really is getting to that stuff because the media likes to hype up all the bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying. And also, but back to this, police arrested about 4,100 people in the United States cities over the weekend. What do you think about that? That's 4,100 too much. That's what I think. Several other people died nationwide in the protests too. And this is a week after Mr. Floyd died. But, like I said, it's really, unclear as to what our future is going to be. That's right, Reggie. And as far as the tension across the U.S., we don't even know if it's being calm or if it's escalating. But you know what? Here's some real significant developments. I heard that the brother of George Floyd received the family's first personal response from the Minneapolis police chief during a news conference Sunday. Oh yeah, what did he say? Well, he said to the Floyd family, I want you to know that my decision to fire the 4 officers wasn't based on some sort of heresy. That's what the police chief said. And he also said Mr. Floyd died at their hands. Well, that's good. That somebody's going to try to take responsibility because, they needed to hype up and jump in front of this stuff before it got out of control. Because I'll tell you right now, it got way out of control this last week. Kim, I heard that President Trump was taken by the Secret Service agents to an underground bunker at the White House on Friday night. Now, that was according to 2 officials familiar with the incident. And that was as over the protest over Floyd's death, which erupted near the president's residence. What you think they should have done? Well, he is the president, and they got to worry about his safety. Yeah, but he ran, man. He ran down to a bunker. Don't you think he should have done something leadership-wise? Well, what do you think he should have did? I think he should have got up there in front of his presidential puppet and led the people. I mean, people wanted to hear what he had to say. He can't be sitting there hiding behind his little phone, tweeting shit all morning, noon, and night. That really ain't acceptable. But I'll tell you, when is it acceptable for a leader, the most powerful person in the country, to hide? Well, I don't think he was hiding. Come on, man. There wasn't no big, major catastrophe going on between countries. This is something that happened in the United States. And all of us, we were looking for leadership. Leadership. And I'm telling you, we were looking towards him. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? It's a tough job being president. I know it can't be easy. Well, if you can't take it, then don't do it. Don't they say, if you can't keep up, don't step up? Yeah, they do say that. But we have to understand, too. That's a job you have morning, noon, and night. There is no time off. You're always going to be president. Hakeem, I know you're going to be president. But the bottom line is, all that stress, all that work comes with the job. You can't be hiding. A general doesn't hide behind his men. He leads the men. He's there to lead the charge. And in a time of catastrophe like this, during the George Floyd rioting, he should have been right there on the front line. In fact, I'm surprised he wasn't protesting peacefully with all the other brothers and sisters out there. That's where his ass should have been. Reggie, I can see you're very heated over this, and I can see your passion, and your passion does matter. But right now, the president's got a job to do. I don't know how to do his job. I guess he's doing the best job he can. Hakeem, you're making excuses again. The dude's got a job to do. He should do it. He should be recognized. His face should be out there. Reggie, do you think the president's always had a fair shake when he's been president? Well, yes and no. I mean, he do got a tainted past. He says a lot of shit that don't go over well with people. And the dude does talk some mad crazy shit, but I don't know how he got elected. Maybe people just wanted some change or something, but... Well, listen to this, Reggie. There are people out there, like Mayor Bill de Blasio's daughter. She was among hundreds of protesters arrested in the city Saturday after failing to disperse when ordered by the police. The police said this is what happened. What do you think about that? Well, I think it's good when somebody's son or daughter peacefully protests. But, like I say, it ain't always about being arrested. It's just about getting your voice out there. I give her kudos, man, for standing her ground and saying, hey, she don't agree with this stuff. That's true. Protesters in Birmingham, Alabama, they didn't agree with stuff, and they tore down a monument to a Confederate naval captain on Saturday night, tying a rope around the statue's neck and pulling it to the ground. That's what the video showed. What do you think about that? Listen, Hakeem. Well, you know, you and I always debate and we argue about stuff like that. But you know, a lot of black people feel some pain when it talks about, you know, statues like that. You know, because they got some history and some history behind it that's sort of hurtful. But you know, I don't know why the media's gotta put in there tying a rope around the neck of a statue and pulling it to the ground. Dude, that sounds gangster. That sounds fucked up. Man, when you said put a rope around his neck, I was thinking about some brother, you know, getting a rope around his neck. You know, they ain't got to throw some kind of picture like that in my head. That's what I'm talking about, man. Media trying to poison my mind with all this bad news. Reggie, I saw a video of a truck driver who was barreling towards protesters. This was in the Minneapolis Interstate 35. Did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. The guy was arrested, according to the police, I believe. The truck didn't appear to hit anybody, but it was driving by everybody. But, you know, what I saw is a kid jumping on the car, smashing the window in with his foot. People just attacked the car. It looked like they dragged them out and beat the crap out of him. Hakeem, I don't know if you saw the same video I was watching, but man, looked like they beat the shit out of him and killed him. But I don't know what happened after that, because all I saw was a little clipping in the newspaper and a short little video. They didn't say exactly what happened, but yeah, I don't know what happened. You know, we're gonna have to go back and look on that, because that sort of bothers me. Reggie, do you mind if I say something? Hold up, Hakeem. Because I want to say something real quick. I'm going to tell you, here's what some of the former presidents had to say. And before I get to that, I just want to say I think it's really good that the former presidents stepped up and said something, because I had no idea they had said anything, because I don't really watch television news anymore, because it seems like, you know, you don't really get the news, but we do a lot of reading, and we get our news from a lot of places. From social media, from other people. But this is what I really did like. I liked how President Obama said he would only speak out if the nation's core values were at stake. He used a virtual town hall to urge young people to channel their anger into political action. Yeah, Reggie, that was good. And did you know something else? All other presidents weighed in and gave some words of hope, too. Obama said he's encouraged that the people are taking part in peaceful protests. I'm encouraged too. I think that's a real good thing. You know, when a president does that dude's my man. You know, I would have voted for him if I was old enough, but you know, I'm not. I was real surprised when President Bush, the son, said he was anguished by the brutal suffocation of George Floyd, because you know, I remember during Katrina, he didn't really seem like he really cared, but you know, all in all, I guess when I'm older, I'd like to have a beer with the brother. He seems like an awesome dad. He seems like he's pretty good, down to earth. But I mean, you know, I guess after you become president, maybe you realize how bad or good things really are in the world. But I'm just glad a lot of these presidents left, making a difference. That's right. And President Clinton said that no one deserves to die the way George Floyd did. And chances are, if you're white in America, you won't. That's right. If you white, you definitely won't die like that. I don't believe. I mean, that's a tragedy what happened to George Floyd, Hakeem. I never seen nothing like that. Hakeem, I still be getting nightmares every night. I be waking up shaking. I almost want to shit my pants, because I'm thinking one day I hope that shit ain't me. I hope when I grow up, it's a better America than this, because the way black people are treated when they get stopped sometimes, it's fucked up. I know, Reggie. It can be. So, President Carter said that as a white male of the South, I know too well of the impact of segregation and injustice of African Americans. I can't say much on that, because I don't think I was born when President Carter was president. But it's cool that a white president said something like that, because, you know, he got your back too. He sounds like he's a good man. That I'd like to have some like a root beer float with that brother, because he sounds like he's cool. Reggie, we need to understand, in recent administrations, presidents have leaned on the advice and wisdom of all the past presidents. But President Trump, in the last 3 years, hasn't. Well, that's because I think Trump was starting a lot of shit with Obama before he was president. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing. It was sort of fucked up, though. You know, he was bringing up a whole lot of stuff that he didn't have to. But then again, at the time, Trump was just another citizen. It wasn't like he was a politician. But then when he became president, you know, that's when the shit... Well, not president, is when he started running for president. That's when the shit was like hitting the fan. It sort of boom backfired on his ass. But, you know, he ain't gonna talk to them. There's a lot of hurt feelings. But you know what? You know, I was thinking, Hakeem, you know, I don't want to go off the beaten road, but
you got something to say,
this would be a good healing time for President Trump. If President Trump actually reached out to all the other presidents and said, listen, I did some fucked up shit. You did some fucked up shit. Let's just put that shit to the side and let's work together and let bygones be bygones. I think that'd be really cool.
Reggie, I'm really going to have to agree with you there. That's a really good. I'm proud of you.
That would be a good photo op if you ask me. If they all went on TV, shook hands and said, we all going to work together. And you know what? If they said, we all going to make America great again because we all can do it. That's right.
Reggie, you might have a point there. I like what you said. Okay, let's see what's next.
During the midst of all the riots, people were defending their stores with guns. But in the midst of all the riots, I will say, people are helping out. They're helping clean up, and this is a good thing. The best part of America, especially on Rodeo Drive. Now, like I said, I don't watch a lot of the news, but this is what I did see when I did flip through, and I actually saw some of the news. People the next day got brooms and mops, and they were sweeping up stores, scrubbing spray paint off everything. I really like that. Yeah, but you know what? Hakeem, I'm going to be honest with you. One thing I didn't like was to see a lot of the state monuments in D.C. defaced. They were tagged and spray painted, especially the Lincoln Memorial. That's some cold shit. Who would do something like that?
I know, Reggie, but hopefully things will change in America. But we have to make sure it changes for the good, because this is the only America we got. So, I want to finish up with some final words of wisdom. A cancer is slowly destroying the United States of America. That cancer is the profound ignorance of culture and lack of respect for their fellow brothers and sisters. The vandalism that has occurred in the United States that stems from the death of George Floyd is not a good thing. The Lincoln Memorial and other historical sites across the United States has been vandalized with people's anger and frustrations. This has been going on far too long and for many years in America. It is the unfair treatment of all people in the criminal justice system. We have a history in the United States, good and bad, a history that should never be forgotten. President Abraham Lincoln led the fight to defeat the Confederacy created by Southern Democrats and fought to get the 13th Amendment outlawing slavery passed and adopted. What can be dumber than desecrating a memorial of a man who made it possible for hundreds of thousands of African Americans to experience freedom as a right on the ground on which they stood and wherever they would go in America? The answer is nothing. But in the midst of all this, there is something positive we can see. We can see people coming together, helping each other, cleaning up storefronts after people vandalized their life and dream. I'm talking about many stores, but especially the mom and pop stores that help employ the community. We see law enforcement officers taking a knee with the peaceful protesters. We must remember that Black lives matter, but in general, all lives matter. As Maya Angelou said in one of her famous poems, we are the hope and the dream of the slave. I am Hakeem Brown with my brother Reggie Brown. And thank you for...
Hakeem, you did it again. We gotta give a shout out. This is the shout out time. So let me do a shout out.
Okay, go on and do your shout out.
I want to give a shout out to our producer, Price Van Ray. He is also the author of The Gay Book, about an 11-year-old black boy growing up in the early 1970s. He has to deal with racism, homophobia, and bullying. But in the span of a year, you find out what true friendship really means. In fact, that book is available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle. We also want to give a shout out to Azadoria Ray, who helps market our podcast. She's doing an awesome job. Now, Hakeem, you can do your final stuff.
Well, thank you, Reggie. I want everybody to be safe. I want you to make a difference. And I want to thank you for listening to Pop City Culture. I'll see you next time. Now, go do the right thing.